Welcome back to another installment of the 3 things you need to know to help your hair to grow healthy, long, and strong. I'm Janice. In today's installment, we're going to talk about your ends. If you would have noticed, I have changed my hairstyle, and I'm going to tell you why. This is what I refer to, or most persons refer to, as protective styling. Alright? Now, what is protective styling? It is that style that is going to help your hair to remain strong during or a period of time where you're not manipulating your hair as you would, so you're not combing it every day, you're not brushing it, tugging on it. So the concept is that your hair grows out, retains its length when you leave it alone. So a protective style is really a style that's protecting your hair that you can wear normally without any issues, that protects the length of your hair and also protects the roots of your hair as they grow out, so that at the end, when you remove the style, your hair would have retained the length that it has grown over the period of time for which you had this style in. So let us say I'm protective styling for 2 months, 3 months. At the end of that period, if my hair grew 2 inches, I would have retained those 2 inches because I didn't break it off, I didn't cut it off. So protective styling is one way to ensure that you maintain your hair throughout a period, and whatever hair grows from your scalp is retained. Alright, so this is my protective style. I'm going to be wearing this for a month or 2. Why am I choosing this style? Well, it gives me easy access to my scalp, so I can still do my massages. Alright, I can wash my hair in this style. I can moisturize and seal my hair in this style. Notice I'm not combing it, I'm not tugging on it, I'm not brushing it, but I still have a fairly decent style that I can wear in different ways if I choose. Alright, I can moisturize it, I can deep condition my hair, I can do all the things that I would do to my hair normally. Now, when your hair is natural, when it's wet, it is very delicate. Alright, and so if you're tugging at your hair, washing it every week and so on, when it is in its natural state, you're going to have tangles, you're going to have breakage, you're going to have a lot of issues to work with it. So washing your hair in a protective style is very, very critical if you're trying to grow your hair long and strong. Alright, now I did not add hair. Adding hair is another way that you can install these protective styles. So you can add synthetic hair and so on. Alright, I prefer to use my natural hair. I don't like putting in synthetic hair. I'll do another video on that to let you know why. But I prefer to plait my own hair, and I work with this, and I'm able to take care of my hair in this style. Now, we're at the 3rd installment, your ends. It is very important to keep your ends well manicured. And what do I mean by well manicured? Trimmed and nice and neat. So you don't have any what we call strings hanging out from them. I keep my ends nicely trimmed so that it's really, just because it's a small twist, but the end is really in shape. I trimmed it so I can hold it all the way up to the end. Alright, so you're not going to see a lot of strings and so on the ends of my hair. I keep it well manicured. What do I do on a daily basis? I get my water or my moisturizer and I spritz my ends. I spray them with water, then I add my moisturizer, and then I put my oil to seal. Now it's very, very important that you do that, because if the ends, so think of the ends this way, it's not causing your hair to grow, but it's preventing things that can cause your hair to break. So for example, if I have split ends, my ends are trashy, and because they're trashy, I don't get a chance to, my ends begin to split and so on. Now when my hair end begins to split, what happens? One strand of hair will split. I'll put in a diagram to show you. That strand is going to split, let's say it splits into two halves. That split, as you continue to manipulate your hair and so on, the thinner end of that split is going to break off. And what happens? That strand is now weakened. When that strand is weak, as you continue to manipulate and style your hair, that portion that was left with just quarter of its strand or 3/4 of its width is going to eventually break off. So instead of having an extension of say 5 inches of hair, the split broke off at 1 inch or 2, then the rest of it broke off. So you would know, instead of having 5 inches, you're now going to have 3 inches or 4 inches, depending on where it broke off. All right. So the reason you're trying to protect your ends is so that you don't develop split ends, you don't have trashy and unmanicured ends, because if you have trashy ends, you're going to have to cut them off, and you don't want to have single strand knots. You have knots, you're going to have to cut those off as well. So the aim is really to keep your ends nicely manicured to prevent splits, knots, and breakage. Once you're able to do that, you're going to be retaining your length. So you're not losing, your hair is growing from the root, you're not losing any coming up. So it's growing down, you're not losing any of it coming up. So clearly your hair is going to grow all the way down. With less breakage, you're going to see more length. Alright, and that's what we call length retention. So protective styles is usually a good way to preserve length retention. And one of the things I like about braids or so on is that it extends beyond the ends of your hair. So it usually keeps those ends of your hair protected. And one of the things that really kind of causes trashy ends is when your ends are down on your clothing and it's rubbing on your clothing and getting all stuck in your clothing and breaking off depending on the nature of your clothing. If you have cotton clothing or, polyester, those kind of where the hair gets stuck and you have to pop it off, and you're losing all your hair that way. All right, if you're gonna wear your hair down, wear something that you can slide nicely on, nice slippery, so it's not gonna get stuck in there or so on. Other than that, keep your hair up and your ends protected, tucked away is what we normally say. Tuck your ends away, find a way to roll those ends in and keep them protected, because once you do that, you're protecting it from the elements, you're retaining the moisture in your ends, you're preventing splits, you're preventing breakage, you're preventing knots. And the ends are the oldest portion of your hair. They've been there for the long haul. These are the points on your strands that made it all the way down from the roots of your hair all the way down to that point. So it's the longest living, it's like the old people in your household. It's the longest living part of your hair. So you must take care of it, otherwise you're gonna break and you're gonna have shorter hair. So if you don't want your hair to break, you must take care of your ends. And taking care of your ends means your ends are going to be strong and healthy. And taking care of your ends does mean you're going to have to deliberately cut it at times. But if you take care of it when you cut, it's just to maintain that healthy looking end. So you take off 1/4 of an inch or 1/8 of an inch just to keep it nice and neatly manicured, but not because of breakage. Because if you don't manicure regularly, you're going to get to a point where the ends are so trashy, you're going to have to take off 2 inches, 3 inches, and where are you? Back at square one. A lot of people, when I used to relax my hair before I started this whole process, my hair would not grow past, let's say, this point before I have to cut it again. If you saw my straighten hair video, you realize that, of course, when your hair is not in a protective style such as this and it's loose, you'll find you'll have more length. Alright, so clearly. But my hair would not grow past a certain length because every time it gets there, I have to cut it. Why? Because I used to love wearing my hair down. Because I love to wear my hair down. It doesn't matter the clothing I'm wearing, it will be rubbing on there and it's breaking off. I use the parts of my hair all on my clothing. I have to be brushing off, and you know, after a while, by the time 3 or 4 months pass and it's time to get my hair done again, the hairdresser will say, no, your ends trash, you have to cut them. So I always maintain that length over and over. Like, you're just not growing. So it's not that it's not growing, it's just that I was not maintaining my length because I was not doing more protective styling to protect my ends from the elements and therefore cause them to go past that normal length. Alright, so once I ensure that my ends are not breaking anymore, and you're gonna say, what's the fun in that? You have nice long hair, you can't let it out. No, that's not the point. You have to make sure that you're taking care of your hair. When you're taking care of it, this is a process you go through. And then you have your reward. You can reward yourself after a month or two. Put it down a day or two, wear it down, enjoy it, and then you put it back up. So where am I now? I'm actually in what I call my growing season. Now in the December period and the summer period, I realize that my hair grows the most. So what I try to do is to maximize on that growth. So for the December, between December, January, February, somewhere there, I keep my hair in a protective style, tucking under my ends and so on, because I know I usually get excessive growth from my roots at that time. So if I maximize on ensuring that my hair is properly protected and that growth takes place as normal, as well as with stimulating, because I'm going to be massaging, I'm going to be using my oils, I'm going to be doing all of that. So I'm expecting additional growth. So when I have that and my ends are nicely tucked away, so it's not in a position where my hair is going to be breaking and I'm tugging at my hair and I'm doing all of this at the same time, no. I am going to achieve that maximum length, and I do that at least twice a year, between December and February, and during the summer months, June, July, August. I get a lot of growth at that time as well, because I realize that the heat also contributes to excessive hair growth for me. So you can always look at those patterns for yourself and see what comes next. All right, so I'm on this additional journey now because I'm doing this protective style. If you want to join me, that's great. There are different types of protective styles, as I said. I particularly like not the single box braids, but I like the cornrows, the cornrow braids. Those are fine because, of course, they're not going to be tugging on, and I'll do another video of the difference in terms of maintaining healthy hair with each of those methods. But you can use braids, being strategic in which ones you install. Crochet braids as well, but you also need to be careful with those. So I'll do another video on that and what is healthy approach and not so healthy approach when it comes to those protective styles. But for me, with my natural hair, my go-to protective styles, of course, my rope twists, which you have to be careful about, and I did a video on that as well as my braids, my box braids. These are natural box braids. All right, so I do a parting and a design that I like, that is not, I don't look so pluck chicken you know, so I do have it across, and I can have a nice updo, and I can wear that. So I can wear it that, or I can wear it down. So I have different styles that I can wear with it, but I know what my end goal is, and it's really nice. I can just moisturize my hair, I can wet my hair, add my moisture, add my oil, wear it down if I choose. If I don't choose to wear it down, I can put it back up, but I prefer to keep it up because, as I said, I'm trying to make sure that my ends remain nice and healthy. So I'm keeping that up by doing a bantu knot at the back and just using a scrunchie that does not have any of those silver things on it that my hair can get stuck into. And ensuring that my ends are tucked away nicely and protected. Alright, so if you want to move into 2021 with the healthiest hair and you're making an effort to do that, you must focus on these 3 things that if you do, you're going to be amazed at what your hair has been doing for you without you noticing over time. Thank you so much for joining me for these 3 segments, and I'm definitely going to break down. You can comment below to see what other series you'd like me to do